Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
I have Airbnbs all over the country, and it has created time and financial freedom for my family. My husband and I have both left our 9 to 5s, and now I am super passionate about helping other families achieve that time freedom, not just the financial freedom with short-term rentals.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on visibility strategies for women entrepreneurs. If you want to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more to make an impact with your voice and business, you're in the right place. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Marcia Spurk, and I'm your host, professional singer and visibility strategist. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Ever thought about investing in the stock market but don't know where to start? Introducing Market Minds by Market Start, the all-new platform designed to make stock market investing simple, fast, and profitable. So why wait? Start your journey to financial success today. Visit themarketstart.com and take control of your future. Great leadership isn't accidental, it's intentional. In Care to Lead, Alex Draper reveals the key to building high-performing, people-first environments at work and at home through the powerful CARE equation: clarity, autonomy, relationships, and equity. Ready to lead and influence with impact? Grab your copy now at alex-draper.com and start your journey to better leadership today.
Hi, Madeleine. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Marta. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so I'm super excited for us to chat. I know you have lots of things going on and lots of wisdom to share with our audience. So why don't you kick us off and tell us who you are and what you do?
My name's Madeleine Rayford Holland, and through a long kind of career journey, what started as a COO of a government contracting company and then led to a lifestyle website where I, partnered with brands like Delta and Target, I eventually ended up in the short-term rental space, which short-term rental is kind of a complicated term, but it essentially means Airbnbs. I have Airbnbs all over the country, and it has created time and financial freedom for my family. My husband and I have both left our 9 to 5s, and now I am super passionate about helping other families achieve that time freedom, not just the financial freedom with short-term rentals.
Well, I definitely want to get into how you got into the Airbnb and short-term rentals, but before, super interested in the journey of working a corporate job before, and then transitioning into doing lifestyle and partnering up with brands. How was that?
It was quite the ride, So if we back it up even further, I went to college thinking I was going to go to medical school and realized that blood and guts were not for me. So instead of changing my major in college, I had a really great career counselor who told me, you know what, don't worry about it. Don't take the extra year in school. 70% of people don't do anything related to their major of what it was in college, just focus on getting some real life experience. And so that's what I did. And then I came on to the government contracting company and managed people, processes. It was a manufacturing business. So I managed multi-million-dollar manufacturing lines and people and all the things. And the company doubled in size while I was there, which was really fun and exciting. But the practical side of that was I was spending over 100 nights a year in hotels and traveling. And so while it was fun when I was young and single and, just doing that, I was alone a lot. And so that's what led me to create my lifestyle website, Moderately High Maintenance. And so I was sharing my travel experiences in different towns where my job took me. I was sharing gluten and dairy-free recipes. I was sharing life on my little hobby farm. I have goats and horses and all kinds of fun little animals. So the lifestyle website was just a creative outlet for me. And, my entrepreneurial spirit, even back then, I had brands that started to reach out and say, hey, can we partner with you to share our products on your website? I grew that to a 6-figure business, partnered with brands like Delta Airlines, Wayfair, All Modern, all these household names. But what that taught me how to do was create content, create good content and consistent content. And so eventually, fast forward, I was doing that for a couple of years. My husband, John, and I we're both kind of traveling in opposite directions, and we had our first son. And so we kind of got to a breaking point with all of the travel, all of the, just being pulled in multiple different directions. And we just said enough's enough. I had been into like the real estate game, managing a long-term rental portfolio, and really all that taught me was that tenants and toilets were not worth their little return on investment. That's where I dealt with crap literally quite a few times in that space, and I was like, you know what, that's not really for me. So I want to get into real estate, but how do I do it in a way that feels authentic and true to me without creating another job for myself? And so I had seen something about Airbnbs. I had obviously stayed in a lot of them throughout my travels. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe that would work. And so what I did was I finally we hunted down a property in our area close to home. And I took all of the brands that I had partnered with over the years in my lifestyle website and used all of those products to create a physical representation of what I've been sharing for years, something that I could be proud of. And that's really what created our brand standard of, the different things that we put in our properties. And so we opened our first one, and it was so wildly successful that I opened 5 more in the next 6 months. And that was kind of the blossoming of MHM, moderately high maintenance luxury properties. And at that point, I had to put on my little COO hat and say, all right, how do I do this to where it's not taking over my life? Because nothing has changed. I'm still working a 9 to 5. I still have a baby. Oh, and by the way, at this point, I'm pregnant with number 2. How do I make sure that this is just not one more thing on my plate? And so I created a framework and automations and systems to where I was only working in that business a couple of hours a week. And it allowed me to grow and scale, eventually leave my 9 to 5, allowed my husband, John, to leave his 9 to 5. And then I started helping other people do the same because it had just been so transformational for my family.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is like one of my favorite parts of hosting this show is hearing how people go from where they were and the steps, because it's not overnight, but a lot of it is, I have this idea, let me test it out, let me look into it. It's not like somebody came with a Bible of all of the things that you needed to know and said, here you go, and everything's going to be all right. You just figured it out as you went. Something else, blood and guts wasn't for me, tenants and toilets.
Not for me.
And that's part of it too, right? Is as you test it out, realizing this is not for me. Let me go a different direction. And transferable skills too, the things that you learned with the content creation and then just creating standards for your brand from the lifestyle website, you transfer that into the Airbnb. Tell me more about this 6 months expanding to 5. How does that happen? That's awesome.
It's not something I would necessarily recommend for everybody because it was kind of crazy. One of my, I can look back and laugh on it now, but one of the craziest stories I had was, I bought a house without telling my husband with oh, by the way, what we were talking. And so our first property we bought, it was new construction, but the builder had already finished the property and a deal had fallen through, and it just, the way that they designed it, it worked out really well for us. It was a good price point. They didn't have any carpet in the house. It just fit our buy box for what we were needing. And so we had told the builder, we said, if you're doing any more projects in this little area, let us know. We want one of them. And so not too long after, he called us and said, hey, I've got a new construction. I haven't even broken ground on it. I'm pre-selling these properties. Do you want one? And I said, yes, we will take one. He said, there are 5 total. I have another investor who's interested in buying multiple, but you've got one. So John, my husband, was traveling that week, and the builder called me and said, hey, one of the contracts fell through. Do you want the second one? It's the exact same floor plan. There's one house in between, but it would be two exact same houses on the same street. I'm calling. He's like, I need to know an answer by the end of the day. And so, of course, he didn't answer the phone. And I said, you know what? We'll take it. I'll figure it out. And you know what? It worked out beautifully. But as far as our marriage goes, and oh, by the way, of a multi-$100,000 purchase is not really what I would recommend, but that was the catalyst for properties 3 and 4. And then we bought a mountain cabin in between there. And then the 5th, which was really interesting, which a lot of people I don't think understand about the short-term rental business, is you can get into it without necessarily having to own a property. Property number 5 was actually an arbitrage property, which means that we took out a long-term lease with the agreement with the landlord that we were able to sublease it out for short-term stays.
Ooh.
So we paid last month's rent and a security deposit, furnished the place, and then we were able to put it on Airbnb, Vrbo, and our direct booking website and start renting it out for short-term. So the first 4 we purchased, but then property number 5 was an arbitrage unit, which is really exciting for folks who are like, I don't really have a lot of capital to get started in this business. How can I get in, start building up that cash flow in order to be able to invest and purchase a property down the road? And that's a really easy way to how to do that.
That is so cool. Interesting. Well, learning new things here. So many questions, so many things that I want to touch on. Let's see. In terms of like for people wanting to get started, what are some of the biggest mistakes or the biggest tips that you have for people who are like, I would love to do this, I just don't even know where to go or what to do with the short term?
Yeah. So what I see a lot of times is analysis paralysis. And I mean, this goes with any business, thinking that you have to be an expert to get started in it. I'm a big proponent of taking just the next best step. I share a ton of resources for beginners over on my Instagram account of just like, hey, this is, if you're looking to get started, this is where you start. I would identify your budget to get started, because that's going to say, all right, am I going to purchase a property or am I going down the arbitrage route? Typically $20K or less, you probably need to be going down the arbitrage route. But knowing where you stand with your credit is another piece. Like, you don't have to have a perfect or amazing credit, but it is something good that you need to know.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Would you like to be my next guest on the Empowered Woman podcast? Do you have a story you'd like to share? Want more visibility for your business on a show ranked in the top 0.5% in the world? Well, then head on over to martasburke.com/podcast guest for more information.
So we have a lot of people who leverage business credit in order to get started in this. But I would say, 1, just take the next best step. 2, find a community of people who are already doing what you want to do, and find somebody who can help you. That's really what I wish I would have had when I got started, was that community and somebody who had already been there, done that, and kind of hit the easy button there for me. But don't wait until you're an expert. Just go ahead and get started.
Okay. All right. That's good advice. I mean, it's the entrepreneurial mindset, right? You kind of figure it out as you go. With action comes clarity.
I love that. I'm going to use that part. With action comes clarity.
Yeah. So do you support people beyond just the content that you share on there? Do you have any resources or anything for people that are wanting, like, okay, you're telling me I need to just get started. I'll start looking into my credit, properties, how much money I have. What else can you help people?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first, right off the bat, this community, we have a free resource called Free Up More Free Time, which is kind of just some more information about how short-term rentals can transform your life. I do have a one-on-one mentorship and coaching community where we will take you from zero to hero in short-term rentals. And we help people with zero real estate all the way through to people who have a wide realm of real estate experience and get you from where you are to where you want to be. And it's a very customized, high touch. We're looking into your budget, your financial situation, and telling you, okay, this is the exact market that you can be successful in. One of the big things that is attributed to my success is we focus on quality over quantity. So we want people to have a top tier property in whatever market they choose. And so whatever your budget is, we're going to choose a market that you can have a high tier, high value property in that market. So even if you have a quote lower budget, it just means we're not going downtown Miami or, we may be going to a smaller town, but the beautiful thing is there is demand in those smaller towns where you can have a really good ROI and have a top performing property in that market. But that's exactly what we help you do. Figure out how to analyze and acquire deals, set it up so that you can be a top tier property in that market. And then 3, we help you set up the digital side of things so you have those systems, processes, automation, so you're only spending just a few hours a week in that property.
Nice. So what was the name of the resource? And I'll make sure to have the link in the show notes.
Oh yeah, free up your free time. Free up more free time.
Love it. So people will have to check that one out. What was the idea behind the name of the business? Because you've said it a couple times and I'm super curious now.
Moderately high maintenance. So my husband actually came up with that name, and now he'll say that there's nothing moderate about the high maintenance.
Love it.
So we just took the moderately high maintenance and took the MHM and made MHM luxury properties just kind of as an homage to where it kind of started off.
Where it started. I love that. So you talked about systems and obviously not making it turn into a job, because that's the whole point of being an entrepreneur, right? Is that you have the financial freedom, but also the time freedom. How did you develop and then, refined this? Did it involve hiring a team? Just for people that are listening to have a general idea of what to expect.
Yes. So initially, I'd say under like 3 to 4 properties, you can manage it yourself with 1 to 2 hours a week. Most everything is automated. You're just checking in on the process to make sure that it's working. Anything over 5, I work with a team of virtual professionals. And so
Nice.
I've shared my framework with how to organize and truly be a CEO in your business, of how to check in on certain data points and other things. Like all of that is included in what we do, but learning how to fire yourself from certain positions and delegate those tasks and outsource is definitely a key component to that. We use Monday.com, Open Phone, like an interesting unified phone system where I have visibility into all interactions that my team is having with guests, but I'm not the one having those interactions.
Okay.
But high level of transparency to make sure that we're maintaining top tier customer service, but without me having to be involved, because the last thing I want is to be glued to my phone, in my face of my phone, in front of my kids.
Yeah.
I know you understand that.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Triplets. How old are your kiddos?
They are 9. They turned 9 like about a month ago, which is crazy. I feel like people say that after 2 is when you kind of, once they're 2, or kids in general, once they're 2, you kind of start getting out of the fog or whatever. And I definitely say that after 6. So for me, it was like delayed because there's 3, I was like, the math adds up. That's when I was like, oh my gosh, it's going so fast.
The math tracks.
Yeah, it took a while, but yeah, no, I totally resonate with what you're saying, because it's, again, the reason why we're building this is that we can make our own time, but then it could kind of come back to bite us and be like, now I'm on all the time and it never ends, and I'm always on the phone and I'm always on the computer and I'm always answering calls. So having a system is definitely very good. Now, on the topic of family, since you've freed up your time, now that you have, how many properties do you have all over the US?
16.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. What do you do with your time then? What are some of the other things that you're involved in and that you're passionate about?
Yeah, so as I shared earlier, I just love helping other families achieve that same time and financial freedom. That's a big part of it. My hobby farm with my, my goats and my horses and my chickens, and I'm kind of a hippie when it comes to that kind of thing. You get our own eggs out of there. And then of course, like spending time with my boys. I've got a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and being able to choose how I spend my time with them. We love to travel. My family recently relocated from Georgia to Texas for 3 months because my husband's a reservist in the Marine Corps. And so they asked if he would come out temporarily to take some active duty orders. Usually he's a stay-at-home dad, but it gave us the flexibility to stay together as a family. And I can, do what I do from anywhere, which is such a gift. A few years ago, his unit asked him to do the same thing for 6 months, and my family, the boys and I stayed home because we didn't have that flexibility. So being here for this 3 month is definitely full circle for us, saying, wow, look how far we've come to be able to, transplant us and have this adventure together. So that, and we're really in the weeds with the 4-year-old and the 2-year-old. When you said you could start coming out of the fog at 2, I've got 2 boys. I'd say it's a full-time job just trying to keep them alive. I ask people all the time, like, when do they stop trying to self-destruct? Because
never. Yeah, I have 2 boys as well, so I get it. But then the girl doesn't make it very easy in the emotion department. So, it's all a challenge.
the trade-off,
Exactly.
So that's really my big hobby. This is
Okay.
life
That is a
sustaining,
big hobby.
for these 2 guys.
Yeah, no, but I mean, the flexibility and what you're able to accomplish is really a testament of what you built, which is amazing. So congratulations on all of it. But we can't forget to talk about your podcast that you released not too long ago. Tell us more.
Yeah, the Lux and the short of it. It's kind of a play on words for short-term rentals, but it's more focused on people who have taken change in their life and seized an opportunity. The story of people of just overcoming that mindset shift of like, I had a pivotal moment in my life, and this is how I overcame the challenge. And so it's been really rewarding. We've had some amazing interviews with folks. We broke top 30 in business last week, which we were really excited about. And it's all about just lifestyle shifts and mindset shifts of creating the life that you want to live.
I love that. What is the name of it again? And we'll make sure and have that in the show notes as well.
Oh, thank you. It's the Lux and the short of it.
Ooh, I really like it. It's fun. It's like,
Thank you.
what does that mean? No, I need to listen to it to figure it out. So people will
Well, come on over.
Amazing. Well, before I ask you how people can connect with you, which we are connected on Instagram already, I'd love to ask you my $1 million question that I ask all of my guests at the end. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Drop it on me.
Okay. Madeleine, what is an empowered woman then?
An empowered woman is somebody who, one, knows that she doesn't have to compare herself to anybody else because she has everything that she needs inside of her, and somebody who knows that they have the power to create the life that they want to live.
Short and sweet. I love it. Short and sweet. See what I did?
I love it.
So good. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and all your wisdom, and get some wheels turning for people to start considering this business idea, right? Because why not? How can people connect with you?
Thank you, Marta, for having me. The easiest place to find me is on my Instagram or my LinkedIn. Both are Madeleine Rayford Holland. My name has an extra E in there. So Madeleine, Rayford Holland. And my website is actually the same, but I share the majority of my content over on Instagram, and I would love to have you guys join me over there.
Amazing. Go follow Madeleine and get some more info. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. This was great.
Thank you, Marta. I appreciate it as well.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.